Hello, everybody. Okay, so I pulled out one of my very old kits from Scraptastic, and I had just about enough papers to do one layout. And this kit is so old. I can't even remember what the name of it was. And I was looking for the invoice slip, and I could not find it. But I do know that it was from March 2014. So it's like over 2 years old. Anyways, I decided to go ahead and scrapbook a photo of my son, and this one had a lot of blues in it. And I'm scrapbooking a photo of my son out in the boat, and there's a lot of blues from the sky and the water. And so I decided to go ahead and use this, also because it has stars, and I love putting stars on my boy layouts. That's one of the things that I almost every time go for is any kind of stars, and I like wood veneer stars, which I end up using some of those. I believe those, yes, those also did come from the kit. So I started with just a plain white background that came from my stash. I just bought a pack of the 12 by 12 white, just plain white paper, and it's a little it's got a little bit of texture to it, but I just bought that from Walmart. It was like $5, I think, $5 or $10 for just a pack of plain white. And I like to use those a lot for my background, especially when I just have scrap papers, which is pretty much all I had left in this kit anyway. I was kind of surprised I even had it put together. But so one of the scraps was this striped paper, and I'm trying to figure out if I want to put it there because I feel like I wanted it just to be a little bit thicker. Because if you look at the line of where it's going across the photo, it kind of cuts off like right around his head. And that kind of just puts a kind of a different focal point on the photo. I just wanted it to go over just a little bit. But I did want to add a lot more of those colors that are in that striped paper. So I went ahead and put it down anyway. And then I'm trying to figure out what kind of layer I want to put back behind that upper left-hand corner. And I thought maybe that blue polka dot or the yellow, but the blue blended in with the navy camera photo paper. Sorry, the navy camera paper. And the yellow was a color I didn't really want to bring in. The I do end up bringing a little bit of yellow in, but the paper on the bottom with the stars is kind of a mustardy yellow, almost orange color. And so that was more of the color that I was aiming for, and that yellow striped paper is just a little too bright. So I went ahead and put the navy polka dot paper in the upper right hand corner, and this is one of my favorite layouts to do. I don't know why, but I love putting the strips of paper at the bottom and then one kind of accent corner, and that way it just kind of does the diagonal and it feels like it's grounded. So I'm just going to go ahead and start there. That's one of my go-tos. And then I found this grid paper, and I had that in my stash. I want to say it was from an older Scraptastic kit also, but not from the same one. And I just kind of thought it wasn't busy, and it gave just a little bit of an accent kind of behind the photo. And I wanted to go ahead and pop it up just to give it some dimension because it was white on white. Even though there was some grid, it was very subtle. And so I went ahead and popped up just around the edges, and I put regular adhesive in the center so that it's stuck down, but the edges kind of come up just a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and stick that semi-close to the center of the layout, just a little to the left. And then I'm pretty much going to start embellishing. I'm going to get my head in these shots a lot. I'm trying a new camera angle. I went up a little bit higher, so you're going to see a lot more mess on my desk, which is okay, I guess. You know, those are things that I typically pull out. Most of the things that I think I'm going to use. In this case, I pulled out everything that I had left from the kit, and that way I could use as much of it as possible. And then I'm going to put the rest of the things that I have from this kit. I consider this kit killed now. Yeah, that one layout left. That was good enough. I am going to use that Lucky wood veneer. It doesn't really pertain to the photo, but it was there. I love it. And in my journaling, I'm just gonna kind of talk about the time that my son gets with dad, and so I think, you know, that they're lucky to have that time together, so it works for me. And these little I guess triangles were in the cut apart, and so I layered 3 of them together just to kind of give them dimension. I'm going to try to tape that down, but because that paper that it's printed on is really thick, and then I stapled it, there's just too much dimension, so I'm going to end up putting some pop dots behind it. That little flare that I stuck on the star with the arrow, it says today, and it's got 5 stars. I thought that was really cute to just kind of have something to go on top of that little star arrow. And I'm just going to go ahead and attach that straight down. I was thinking about pop dotting that, but I thought maybe that'd be too much dimension when I put the flare on top. Okay, so here's where I try to tape down those little triangles that I had layered together, and it's just not laying right. So I quickly figure out that I want to go ahead and pop dot them, which I typically do when I staple anything anyway, because I don't like it to stick up funny or look like it's it gets a little too smushed for me and the papers get bent. So if I just pop dot it, that usually saves it. And so I'm going to use this little circle die cut, but I'm going to put a little star wood veneer with it, and it fits perfectly, and it's really kind of cute. I didn't want to lose too much of the yellow that I had put up in the upper right hand corner, but I'm going to offset the wood veneer, and I'm hoping that I got that really good in the still photos, because it just kind of looks like it's got a little yellow shadow behind the wood veneer when I look at it in person. And what am I doing now? Oh yes, just cutting everything off the back. I always have difficulty with one side when I'm cutting stuff off the edge. I don't know if it's the angle of my scissors. Does anybody else ever have that problem? I don't know why. I just have to have it like, I don't know. It just seems like one side cuts smoothly for me, and then I have difficulty with the scissors, the angle or something, the way that I hold it. I don't know. It could just be my hands too. Okay, so I do know, I already do have that Lucky veneer, wood veneer. It is glued down now. I had forgotten to turn the camera back on when I glued that down, but that was the only thing that you missed. And now I'm going to go ahead and glue my wood veneers down. And the one in the bottom left-hand corner on that circle, it says, "Life is wonderful." And it has a little blue heart, and so I put one of the wood veneer stars off to the right, and then I'm also going to add these little shaped enamel dots that came in one of the kits, and they're little teeny tiny stars, and I thought that the yellow was perfect, or it's kind of an orangish yellow, and so I'm using those with my enamel dots. And I'm also using some navy, and I had one teal left, so, or it's kind of like a bluish. It just matched really well, and I had one left, so I wanted to make sure and get that down. And I'm thinking about putting some enamel dots with that little cluster with the arrow and the flare, but it didn't work out. I thought it looked fine. I didn't want to overcrowd everything. And then I'm going to do my journaling, and it just says, "Dad enjoys the time he gets to bring you out on the water, and you love getting all the snacks. It's a win-win." And so I kind of had done a real quick journal on a piece of scrap paper just to kind of figure out what it was that I would wanted to write. And that is going to be it. I'm going to erase my lines. I did put pencil lines down so my journaling would be straight. Sometimes I just use the pen and draw lines, but in this case I wanted just the pencil lines. All right, that is everything. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Bye.